URC Power Rankings, folks. After 11 rounds of the competition, how are the teams stacking up? Round 11 was an interesting one because as we head into the Six Nations, at least for the European teams, there's a fair bit of kind of depleted squads going on. All the South African squads down in the hot weather were at each other as well, with kind of less worries about international call-ups. But yeah, more worried about the weather. We'll go through the rankings from bottom to top. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how fair or not they are as we await the resumption of the competition. Zebre, pretty much permanently based here in 16th at the moment. They are on a how many loss run? 9 losses in a row. They lost to Connacht, who were also on a bit of a losing run of their own, 31 points to 15. Maybe that blows out a little bit at the death with Connacht's last try. Zebra at least scored some points and made it a good contest. It was a contest for a while, that game, so I don't want to be too hard on them, but you're almost in double-digit losses in a row. Edinburgh, I've got down 2 spots with their loss to a much-changed Leinster side. Duhan got a try, which was pretty nice. Edinburgh were in front for a while, but it is another loss, and that conversion at the end, which was horrendous, means not even a losing bonus point for that one. So they are 1 win in their last 5 matches. Edinburgh are, 14th on the table? So very similar to where I have them on the power rankings. And then there's the Dragons, who, like Edinburgh, are also down 2 spots. The Dragons led against the Ospreys for much of that game and kind of lost it at the death. So they are 1 win in their last 4. But I still feel like the Dragons are a much better product on the field than last year. It seems to, or last season, seems to be kind of night and day different. So I think overall, despite all the troubles of the Welsh rugby system and whatnot, and the potential culling of a team and all that jazz, the Dragons are a good news story. Just from last season to this season, it is a big, big step up from those lads, even if they are, still down the bottom of the table in 12th. Last year, they were 16th and not even looking like getting wins. Connacht, I do have up 2 spots. They managed to break their losing run of, I think, 4 losses in Zebre. So again, I don't give them that much credit for the opposition they beat, because everyone's been beaten Zebre in recent times, but 31 points to 15. Bonus point took like 90 minutes to get it. They were really chasing it. That might come in beneficial for them come the end of the season. So congratulations to them. Losing run is broken. Fingers crossed that spurs them on to make a run towards the finals. The bonus point will certainly come in handy. And then next row, Benetton. Benetton, I have interestingly up 2 spots. I think that's more about other teams losing around them. Like Benetton didn't lose. They drew. They drew with these guys, the Scarlets. Although you'd be hard-pressed to say you saw that game because of the fog. The fog was ridiculous, especially in the second half. How the commentary team could call that game, I don't know. How the goal kickers were lining up kicks at goal, I don't know. It seems like the main camera looking down at the field had a worse view of it on ground level. Maybe it wasn't quite as bad, but it was pretty tough to get much out of that one. So I got Benetton up 2. Their last win is round 8, so it's been a bit of a while, but it wasn't a loss, this one. And then the Scarlets, I mean, they're down like in 15th on the actual table, but their recent record is like a loss, a win, and now a draw. So, the Scarlets have got a better recent record than some of the other teams around the traps. Then I got the biggest losers this week, the Lions. I bigged you guys up. I had you well up in the power. I think they're down like 6 spots. How do you lose 52-17 to the Bulls? The Bulls have not been great this season, but they hammered the Lions. Bit of a rivalry match, that one. Seemed pretty hot. But what was not hot was the Lions, because they got flogged. They are still in the playoffs on the actual table. They're 8th. I had them, as I said, really high up last week. I thought they were in good form. But for a loss at home, by that margin, I had to drop them. And they dropped further than I expected. But maybe reflects how well condensed the kind of middle of the table is. There's a few teams who are flying high, a few teams who are real cellar dwellers, and then the middle of the pack is kind of tightly contested, which is maybe a good one for the comp. And then Cardiff, who gave Ulster a good game this morning, my time, But yeah, they have suffered another loss. They've only won one in their last 3. So they are still in the playoffs. They are, what are they, 5th on the table? But I've got them down 3 spots because, as I said, the recent form is just not quite there. They're still 7-4. 7-4 is a good record. Like 7-4 on the actual table is nice, but 1 in their last 3 in terms of power rankings. If we're looking at putting more weight on recent results, the form not quite there for Cardiff at the moment. Again, depleted squads and whatnot, but still, yeah, Ulster managed to hold them out, but they did get a losing bonus point. Speaking of sides who've kind of recent records not that great, Munster. Munster's recent record is very similar to Cardiff's, to be fair. They're down 1 spot. They lost to Glasgow, who I'm not punishing them too much for because Glasgow at the moment are looking a real side. So Munster just down 1. They are still in the playoffs. They're in 6th. But yeah, Gavin Coombs took a real bad knock in this game, but there were a few too many missed tackles, and I don't think Clayton McMillan will be too chuffed with that one. No losing bonus point. Likewise, 1 win in their last 4. I think it was Cardiff in their last 3. So similar sides who are both lower half of the table, but recent records not that great. Then the Ospreys. I've got them up 2. Took them a while, but they got the win over the Dragons. They only led that game at the death. I think they only led for like 2 minutes of the entire game. But that's enough. If you're going to be leading at the final whistle. So up 2 spots with their win over the Dragons, 19 points to 13. Wins and draws and whatnot recently means, despite all the off-field turmoil, they've been getting a few results. They are still outside the playoffs, though, because of poorer kind of start to the season. Speaking of poorer starts to the season, the Sharks also had a poor start to the season, saw their coach get moved along. But they've up 2 spots with 2 wins in a row over the Stormers. The Stormers, who up until a fortnight ago had not lost a game in the URC. The Sharks have now gone and done it 2 weeks in a row. That was a good game. Really back and forth stuff. Sharks showed some real determination. Their big guns maybe stepping up a bit. Came back from behind twice. Sharks, maybe a bit of a dark horse if they can keep on with some form. And then the Bulls. The Bulls. 2 away wins in a row. The Bulls, like 1 in Europe and 1 down in South Africa, they flogged the Lions. Beat Edinburgh a week before. And I had the Lions pretty highly rated, so they've given them extra points for that. Goodness me, the Bulls. Tri-Fest. 2 away wins in a row. I give extra points for winning away. Bulls, 2 wins in a row, 2 away wins. Maybe it's a bit of a false storm, but maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel for the Bulls. Then the Stormers. You're down a spot. You were number 1 on the power rankings consistently for a long time. 2 losses in a row, both to the Sharks. 3rd on the table. Warwick Galant, that's not his greatest moment. We just didn't touch that ball down, and it was a try to the Sharks. So they won't look back on that one too fondly. But yeah, what's happening with the Stormers? As I said, entertaining game. Scored in like the first minute. Real back and forth. Proper South African rugby derby stuff. Great. But for the Stormers, they'll be pretty disappointed with those last 2 weeks. Maybe the break now gives them a bit of a chance to reset. Then Ulster, who are a bit of a comeback story compared to last season when they were awful. Doing really well. Like the game against Cardiff, I watched it this morning, my time, like it was an arm wrestle. Both their props scored tries, Ulster early. Real dry spell. Cardiff came back into the game, gave them a good go of it, but Ulster were too good at the end of the day and secured a win without a bonus point. So solid without being spectacular, as I said, with depleted squads and whatnot. So pleasing for them. Up 2 spots in the power rankings. They've won 3 of their last 4. And then there's the top 2, who I think are at the moment pretty clearly the top 2, but it's which order do you put them in? Leinster, despite their win, and despite having so many guys out, I've got them down 1, despite the win over Edinburgh. Edinburgh, I don't have very highly ranked, and they beat them by 8 points. Edinburgh could have got a losing bonus point if not for that fluff conversion. Whereas Glasgow beat Munster, who again aren't in great form, but I've kind of ranked the Munster 31-22 win as higher than the 28-20 win that Leinster got. Like despite Scott Penny's hat-trick, which is a cracker in its own right, but I've got the Glasgow result just tipping the scales in their favour, but there's very little between them Both those sides are looking pretty good. Stormers falling off maybe a wee bit, but yeah. You guys let us know your thoughts. The resurgence of the Bulls and the Sharks. Is this going to be a long-term thing? Can you see the current playoff sides like Cardiff and Munster finding a bit of form? And who's your dark horse who's currently outside the playoffs to make a bit of a playoff finals run, the likes of a Connacht or potentially someone else? You guys let us know your thoughts as we head towards Six Nations time. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.